Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Survivor Series 2016.
Is a thing that happened
And it's done.
4 years ago.
Hey.
So, first things first, we opened up with a Cruiserweight 6-man tag match. Arya Daivari and Drew Gulak and Tony Nese took on Noam Dar and Rich Swann and TJ Perkins.
We also did not. We did not open up with it. It's a pre-show.
It's a pre-show.
Can you handle it?
No.
Swann did a drop kick to Nese.
Match of the night.
TJP did a helo to Nese.
No, that's the next one. I'm sorry.
TJP did a vertical suplex and a belly-to-belly suplex to Nese. TJP did an octopus lock to Nese.
Octopus lock.
TJP and Swann did a drop kick to Gulak. TJP did a wheelbarrow knee bar to Gulak. TJP did a head scissors takedown to Daivari.
TJP is sus.
Dar did a corner drop kick to Daivari. Daivari did a spine buster to Dar. Nese did a leg drop to Dar. Nese did a suplex to Dar.
Dar's taking a lot of hits here.
Yep. Gulak did an Indian deathlock to Dar.
God damn, Dar. Duck, man.
Swann,
He's sus. What can you say?
Swann did a double stomp to Daivari's back. Swann did a Frankensteiner to Daivari. Dar did a tope to Gulak. Nese does the Fosbury flop to Dar.
What is that?
Essentially where he jumps over the rope, but it's his side that goes, he goes sideways.
Okay.
TJP did a dive on the Gulak and Nese. Swann did a 450 jumping splash to Daivari, and Dar, Swann, and TJP win.
Yeah, like Swann does he does a few jumps and then does the rotation. Almost missed it though.
Oh yeah.
I mean, his knees came first, but it still looked good. I'm hope he.
You say his knees came first. Before you saw that, I'm pretty sure he toe dragged like a football player trying to stay in bounds across his chest.
Oh, maybe. Okay, yeah, I missed that. Yeah.
Like you were so close to like tripping on it.
This it was fun. I love Rich Swann, so like as far as I'm concerned, he carried the match.
He was the match.
It was weird though, because there was obviously with the cruiserweights at the time there wasn't much heat, so I mean that kind of kills it. But I still watched it move for move, and I mean these guys are freaking great. I don't know why the cruiserweights didn't work out. I think there's that one guy at the top of WWE who just didn't care for the small guys. So
They
Vince
cared enough.
McMahon.
They cared enough to bring it back.
yeah, I think Vince is just a guess from me. So I was like, okay, we'll give it a shot, rah rah rah, and then like 2 years later he's like, I don't give a shit anymore.
He probably didn't give a shit after the tournament ended.
I wonder why they had the little commercial break thing.
Because back when they did these shows, they had actual commercials.
Oh, for the pay-per-view?
When they did the pre-shows, they had commercials on the pre-shows.
Because they would have them on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You get little ad breaks.
And then they would, on the YouTube ones, they'd be like, buy the network.
Yeah, no. Or, yeah, so you can watch the pay-per-view you're about to watch.
Exactly.
Remember, you only got 5 minutes to watch this Bound for Glory show. Or we're going to turn it off on you.
The first bit of referee nonsense was when TJP went for the plancha and the referee stopped him from doing it. Like, dude, what are you doing?
After everybody else was hitting moves.
Like, what are you doing? And then of course TJP does it anyway by jumping over the ref. So.
He did jump over the
And then the
ref.
ref wasn't mad anymore, and it never came. Nothing else came.
He's like, you know what?
Came into play.
They're not going to listen to me about this. I don't care anymore. Meh. I give the match a 7. I enjoyed it.
I gave it a 7 as well.
6.5. I thought it felt clunky for what it was.
And plus, there's no heat, so it's hard to get invested into it. Yeah, you did say it looked clumsy. There were clumsy spots for sure. Like they also like. It's also like it didn't like when you think of cruiserweights. You know, like this match felt like it was like a blend of cruiserweights with the WWE style, where it's like they're trying to tell stories and of course that doesn't matter much because if there's no heat then the stories don't work. So
I thought it was clumsy just because it felt slower than
yeah, that's what I mean.
It should be for that. And
Yeah.
for some of the stuff they were doing, because even their faster moving stuff felt slow to me,
Yeah.
at least.
I'll agree with that.
But then we can talk about slow. Holy shit.
Then you have the match of the night. Kane versus Luke Harper.
Yeah, there's a reason this wasn't on the card, because it's the best match they've ever produced. Flair Steamboat right here.
Kane did
Omega
a
Okada.
Oh wow!
Kane applied the full Nelson to Harper.
And it's on the pre-show. This will be a good show.
Harper did a headlock to Kane. Kane did an uppercut and a clothesline to Harper.
Only 1 minute in, by the way.
Yep. He clotheslines Harper's shoulder into the corner. Harper does a dive onto Kane. Harper does a helo to Kane.
Hero.
Big man do big moves.
Big men don't look like you should be doing big moves.
Harper did a big boot to Kane.
Something of that effect.
Kane did a superplex to Harper. Kane did a clothesline and a sidewalk
Audio
slam
podcast.
Vintage Kane.
to Harper. To Harper.
Hyper? Hype party?
No hype bros?
Hype bros. There you go. There
Hyper
it is.
super kicked
You
Kane.
said hyper again.
Harper super kicked Kane. Harper did a drop kick to Kane.
Yeah.
Kane did a big boot and a DDT to
Wait,
Harper.
you talking about the super kick that he super kicked him in the elbow pad, like a foot away from where his body
Yes.
was? Okay, I just want to make sure that's the super kick you were talking about.
Harper did a black hole slam to Kane.
Audio podcast.
That wasn't audio.
All you did there, well, but without this part, you just made a really weird sounding noise.
Yeah, well, if you give me a second, I'll describe it. That was basically a Mrs. Pose and the noise he makes when he does it for TNA. I can't explain it while I'm doing it because I'm doing. Relax,
Sounds like
sir.
a fucking dying whale.
That's what it is.
An asthmatic elephant.
Then Kane did a choke slam to Luke Harper, and Kane wins.
He made sure to say Luke Harper because he was about to say hyper again.
Luke Harper?
Luke Hyper. No, he wasn't hyper in this match.
He was tired.
I was kind of glad when the match started because they had some dueling chants, so I thought maybe it might be something. You know, a big hoss fight or whatever.
I was glad when it was over.
But, like, yeah,
You could tell just how bored Kane was waiting for Luke Harper to get
yeah,
to the ring.
that's true. It's like, okay, good. You got your little Archer arrow thing, and you got your music, and you're walking out, and Kane's like, all right, come on, man. You know, this is a pre-show, right? Not that big of a deal.
Big man do
Yeah.
choke slam, but he did choke slam to big guy. I still like the bigger the person taking a choke slam, the less impressive it looks.
Yeah, because they can't really get up for it. Like, say, like AJ Styles or somebody.
Like fucking Kane choke slam and Rey Mysterio all fucking day. Let's go.
Yeah, but him doing it Big Show wouldn't look so good.
About a foot off the ground, slam to there. Like he gets a foot off the ground and falls backwards. That's a choke slam to Big Show.
Like the choke slam that Taker did to Hogan.
Oh, yeah. And, like, he just fell over.
Yeah.
It was so
Well,
gross.
there's also a spot later in the show about they try to play it off as like a shove, but I think it was a choke slam with Strowman and Shane later.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
looked really fucking dumb.
This match never got out of first gear. I mean, like, these guys were, like you said, they're just in park. Just,
When-
like,
when-
bored. Or I'm sorry, neutral.
Reverse.
Reverse. I mean, I'm going to give it a 5 because these two guys are great, but, like, just aren't great versus each other. So I'm going to give it a 5. It's just basic. It's just there.
You?
I mean, baseline's 5. I'll give it 5.
I gave it 5.5.
Oh. No quarters, huh?
You
No
got
quarters?
a cane boner over there? What's your deal?
No, I just the black hole slam is what sold me.
You got your own big red machine over there?
No, it's the black hole slam, dude. That's
Red
what
Rocket.
sold
Red
me.
Rocket.
Red Rocket, Spark, Red Rocket.
What are you doing? I'm milking the dog.
Stanley.
Before we get into the main body,
What the fuck?
before we get into the main body of this pay-per-view, I just have to say outright, I'm not a fan of the brand warfare because it's such a contrived nonsense that happens once a year just because it's Survivor Series.
And it always happens just a few weeks after the draft.
He's a cup of haters.
Yeah.
Cup of haters.
Well,
And they only mentioned the draft.
cup of haters.
They only mentioned the draft once on this show, and it was when they were talking about Seth Rollins because he was newly appointed to Raw
Yeah.
at the time that they were doing this show.
And they mentioned, you betrayed our team. Yeah, but these guys are fighting each other anyway, so of course they are.
Actually, technically, this draft happened right after, or right before that Battleground pay-per-view. The Shield faced each other in Triple Threat.
Yeah, okay. I don't know when it happened
But
at this
Rollins
point.
went to Raw. He was the first draft pick taken after Ambrose.
Reigns was on SmackDown?
And then Reigns is on Raw.
Reigns is already on Raw.
Oh, right. It says for Ambrose was on SmackDown. Sorry about that. Yeah. So like, so I'm just gonna get out of the way right off the bat, and you guys can just say what you want about it. But I don't like the premise of this version of the Survivor Series. It drives me nuts. Where it only matters once a year, and it's meant to be a big deal to the fans, and it's really not.
I don't particularly like it in terms of these Survivor Series matches we're going to talk about. The Survivor Series matches themselves. But when
Yeah.
they do like the champion versus champion matches with like AJ and Brock and Bryan and Brock and
Yeah,
the
like
triple threat from last year.
they don't do a good enough job to make me care about it because they don't care about it except for when it's necessary. So it just, to me, it's pointless.
I personally don't mind it, but I prefer the style like Legend was saying, where it's like the champions go against each other. I prefer that style, but this style I didn't mind it. I wish that the Survivor Series matches had more of a story going into it versus just brand warfare. But
brand
whatever.
warfare is what makes it stupid because they made a pay-per-view specifically for this called Bragging Rights that failed miserably.
The last one was right here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Cheap plug.
Cheap plug for the city of Minneapolis. It's burning.
Yeah, come to Minneapolis. We have riots and we have COVID and we have nothing else going on. Oh yeah, a lot of unemployment too.
We
Including you.
Yeah.
Hey.
You.
Hey.
I wish. I'm tired.
I'm retired.
All right.
Oof,
So we open the show with the women's.
Survivor Series 2016, people.
We open up with the women's match. So Raw team is Bailey and Alicia Fox.
Wacky waving inflatable arm-pulling tube man. Wacky waving inflatable arm-pulling tube man. Wacky waving inflatable arm-pulling tube man.
What are you talking about?
And Nia Jax.
I couldn't even follow that.
And Sasha Banks and Charlotte.
I had more, but you interrupted me.
Yeah.
Versus Becky Lynch and Naomi and Alexa Bliss and Carmella and Natalia, who was replacing a taken out Nikki Bella.
Yeah.
Wasn't it her who took her out in the later part of the story?
Yes.
Okay, I remember that correctly.
Okay, so looking back 4 years ago, right before we get to the match itself, this like I like some of the trajectory of some of these characters. Bailey and Sasha, for instance. Charlotte, she's the same. I don't really care. Becky Lynch made the most strides. Naomi's the same character, I believe. She was the same.
Literally,
Pretty much the
exactly.
exact same, yeah.
Alexa Bliss and Carmella have stepped up a little bit, with Alexa Bliss being the most obvious.
More recently, she's changed.
Yeah, but I think by here she started to win women's titles soon after this.
True.
Yeah. So like and Nia Jax had her moment, but I don't know what's going on with her. Whether she's just
She never
not
deserved
trusted
the
or
moment, don't worry about it.
what. She's just not being booked.
No idea.
But anyway, like I thought it was really cool to see these.
Better than Tamina.
Yeah.
Everyone's better than Tamina.
But like seeing these characters 4 years ago and then seeing how they are now, not bad.
Well, what about your girl on the sideline, Dana Brooke?
Oh, that's my baby.
He'd just be waiting there, like, yeah, flex.
She
on
hasn't
me,
changed
baby,
much,
flex.
and she hasn't changed much, and I think she just stayed the same. I think she just
flex on me. You can dominate me.
she
any
can
day.
break me in half for all I care. I
Any
don't care.
day.
She can put the torture rack on me. I don't care.
Give me that backbreaker, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Wouldn't he want to give her the backbreaker?
She'd be the dominant one in this
Yeah.
situation.
I'm a certified. There's a lot of people on this card that are like my little who I mark out to. One's coming later, and you're gonna hear a lot about it.
And you're gonna hear a lot about it from me. That's gonna be the opposite of what you're gonna say.
And Dana Brooke is one of my favorites. Love you, Dana.
All right. So Fox had a Northern Light suplex on a Carmella. Carmella did a head scissors and a Bronco Buster to Fox.
She can run herself into my face whenever she wants.
Lynch does the disarm her attempt to Charlotte. Jax did a gut hit onto Bliss and Naomi.
Good.
She literally just hit her with her stomach.
And they fell down.
Jax did a clothesline to Carmella and Natalia. Fox scissor kicks Carmella.
Oh, wait, no. He scissor kicks the air. Carmella falls down.
Oh, same concept.
Not really. She barely made contact.
Bliss does the twisted bliss to Fox. Naomi does a crossbody to Nia Jax on the outside.
Oh, shall I just list eliminations ahead of time?
No, you list them when you're in your notes.
All right, fair enough.
Naomi does a crossbody to Jax outside. Jax then slammed Naomi outside.
Notes. You guys take notes?
Banks
Get over
does
yourself.
the knee stomp to Bliss. There's a Meteora to Natalia on the outside.
Meteora.
Natalia does the discus clothesline and a German to Charlotte. Natalia does a power bomb to Charlotte. Natalia does a sharpshooter to Charlotte. Charlotte does a big boot to Natalia. Jax suplex Lynch and Bliss. Then Lynch does a top rope drop kick to Jax. Lynch and Bliss try to DDT Jax and it doesn't really work. Lynch does the disarmer to Jax.
It wasn't a DDT. It was, they got it, and one of them slipped, so they just fucking fell. And they're like, yeah, sure, DDT, call it a day.
Right.
Lynch does the disarmer to Jax. Charlotte does the big boot to Bliss. Becky Lynch does the exploder suplex / the Becksploder to
No,
Charlotte.
it's a Beckplex. He does not call it the Becksploder.
It's
He calls
stupid.
it the Becksplex. You can go on your little rant about that.
Alphaplex. Yeah. Good lord.
Lynch does a top rope drop kick to Charlotte. Lynch does the
Becksplex.
Becksplex / the Becksploder to Bailey. Bailey does a clothesline and elbow to Lynch.
She can give me a Becksplosion.
Oh, God. Until the Lynch is back. Bailey does the belly to belly suplex
Belly to Bailey?
to Lynch.
Man, you are on your game today.
Bailey, Alicia Fox, Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, and Charlotte win. What are your notes, Albert?
All right. So the first person to get eliminated was Carmella by Alicia Fox and the scissor kicks, or by a scissor kick from Fox. Alicia Fox got hit almost immediately by the Twisted Bliss, so Fox was eliminated by Alexa Bliss. Naomi got eliminated by count out. How did she get counted out again?
Nia Jax literally took her when she was on the apron, trying to go back in and just swung her out.
You're standing on the apron. I thought
that's right.
once
That's right.
I thought when you started standing on the apron again, you reset the count, but apparently not. Also, counting in these matches is pointless because they only do it when they want to.
Yeah, you can tell.
He was counting, and then he wasn't counting, and then he was counting again.
Oh yeah, obvious.
It's great.
I forget how you mentioned it. I forget what. Banks eliminated by Natalya. I thought that was so weird. But what did Natalya do? Was that I don't remember what she did.
There's the Meteora to Natalya. And then
Yeah. Did she just roll her in the ring and pin her?
Pretty much.
Yeah, something like that. And anyway, Natalya was eliminated after that by Charlotte. Then Jax was tapped out to Lynch's disarmer, which is, come on, you're trying to build up Jax. That's not a good way to do it. Bliss got eliminated by Charlotte. By the way, I think this was the first time Bliss got hit in the match was by just one boot and pinned her.
Well, aside from the double teams from Jax, yeah.
Yeah, the double suplex. And the falling over box.
Here's the most interesting part of the match was when Lynch and Bailey faced off. This is 2016 now, and there's literally no heat. I want to see that today.
Me too.
I want to see what that looks like when Becky Lynch comes back and Bailey's a heel and
if Becky Lynch comes back.
Yeah. Lynch eventually eliminated Bailey. Or I'm sorry, Bailey eventually eliminated Lynch with the Bailey to belly. And then after the match, while they're in the ring and the referee's holding their arms up, Charlotte jumps Bailey after the bell and proceeds to whoop her ass around the ring apron.
All right. So, what would you rate it, Albert?
I gave it a 6. It was fun for what it was. It wasn't. It didn't like blow me away. Let's put it that way.
I'm gonna give it a 6. I said at the beginning it was a risky move to open the show of the Women's Survivor Series match.
I gave it a 7.5. I found it entertaining.
Yeah, it was okay.
I mean, it could have been better, but it also could have been way worse.
Yeah, it could have been. We've seen these 5-on-5 Survivor Series teams between women and or men or whatever that last like 5 minutes. At least this one has some stories in it, so at least there's that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Then we got the one at the end of the night that lasts for God's sake ever.
Yeah.
So then what happened after that, Albert?
We're backstage with Legend's favorite guy, James Ellsworth, and he's walking in the hallways and gets confronted.
2 shows in a row, you fucking bitch.
Yeah, we're on an Ellsworth streak here.
Is he gonna show up on Full Gear on Saturday?
No, dude, let's go.
Yes,
let's
please.
go.
Show
Okay.
up as a member of the Dark Order.
He'd be the.
It was me.
It was me, Brody.
The
It
whole
was me all
time.
along.
You thought you were the exalted one. No, it's fucking James Ellsworth. I'd be in on it.
He eventually runs into Gallows and Anderson, and they make every single chin joke you can imagine. Your chin it to win it. Cinderella. Keep your chin up and all that nonsense. Mick Foley eventually walks up. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm sorry.
That
Anderson
sweet
did call him
chin
nerd, so there's that. We popped for that.
Gallows called him a nerd, not Anderson.
Oh, Gallows, yeah, I'm sorry.
Festus.
Festus called him a nerd.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes. I remember that was that Morrison and Miz when they did that little spot with
My
Festus.
God, we need to find a match with that character in it.
No, you don't.
Eventually, Mick Foley walks up to them and stands up for Ellsworth.
That's my gate.
Gallows and Anderson eventually walk off. Ellsworth starts putting Foley over a little bit, how he has watched his matches where he gets beat up, and also how he beat The Rock on Raw. Foley tries to recruit James Ellsworth to Raw for some reason. And then so James Ellsworth says, "Okay, no, I'm not going to join Raw. SmackDown's my home," and then walks right into Braun Strowman, and then it's over.
Well,
Finally.
Foreshadowing.
At first, Foley was actually
True.
Talking. Well, because Ellsworth is talking about moments that he watched Foley, and he's talking about all this shit where Foley gets hurt.
Yeah,
Is
And
there
Foley
anything
goes
I did
off the
anything?
cell and all that.
He
yeah.
goes, "Is there anything that you have to say that wasn't about me getting my ass kicked?" Pretty
Yeah,
much.
beating
I think he
Raw,
said
the
you
Rock
got,
on
when
Raw. Yeah.
Undertaker threw you off the cell, it's like, no, I got tossed off the cell.
There's a difference. Yeah.
No. He said he got tossed off, and he's like, "Yeah,
Tossed
that
off
means
means
something
something.
else, sitting somewhere."
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it was. I got threw off the cell by the Undertaker. Thrown off the cell by the Undertaker.
So then we have the Intercontinental title match, The Miz versus Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn does a deep arm drag to Miz. Zayn does a drop kick to Miz. Zayn does a moonsault to Miz off the barricade, which is pretty cool. Miz does a double axe handle to Zayn off the top rope. Miz hits Zayn with legs into the post. Sorry.
Jesus.
There's a kick to Zayn's neck. Zayn does a clothesline to Miz. Zayn does a tope to Miz. Zayn does a Falcon Arrow to Miz.
Nobody kicks out of the fucking arrow.
Miz does his Miz
I could
DDT
kick out
to
of that.
Zayn. Miz does the corner drop kicks to Zayn.
Yeah.
You had three of them. I thought there was going to be some reversal there. He just kept hitting shit. And I'm like, all right.
Miz does his corner clothesline to Zayn, where he kind of just sits there in the corner for a second and just kind of looks.
Keeps hitting shit, like I said.
Zayn does the blue thunder bomb to Miz. Then Zayn does exploder suplex to Miz.
The back exploder.
Miz
Zexploder.
does a figure four to Zayn.
The
Then
Miz
Zayn
exploder.
finally rolls through it.
Yep.
Then Zayn does the figure four to Miz.
This took forever because he couldn't figure out how to get his legs around it
Yeah,
properly.
it's a 4. Come on.
Miz does the it kicks to Zayn. Then, when Zayn has the figure four on Miz, Maurice runs over to the timekeeper and rings the bell. So Zayn's like, oh, he tapped out? Cool. And then they pan the camera to Maurice, and Maurice goes, he did it, points at the timekeeper. And then Miz rolls him up and wins 1, 2, 3.
Yep. With the most dangerous move in all of wrestling, which is
The roll up.
the schoolboy roll up.
roll up.
Yeah, surprise roll up.
Normally there's someone's entrance music playing at the same time, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Let them know you're coming. Zayn.
It's going to be a surprise, but you know I'm coming. Let's go.
Zayn.
Darby Allin, biggest example.
This was when the Miz was coming back with his really dastardly heel. I'm better than you. He's bringing that back, and he's the Intercontinental Champion. He says, and he's actually putting some prestige back to the belt. He really was.
Maurice
This
is
is the,
looking good.
And Maurice.
This
wow.
is the only time in all of the Miz I've actually said I like the Miz.
Yeah.
It's arrogant heel,
Yeah, and he didn't back away from fights. He cheated to win.
not a pussy. Is what I was.
Yeah, but he's not a chicken. He's not a total chicken shit heel. But he'll cheat to
this is
win.
right when Daniel Bryan was calling him out on Talking Smack.
And then he just verbally abused Brian.
That was
It was
awesome.
great.
And then,
Awesome.
and then they didn't really capitalize on it when Bryan finally came back.
I know they didn't do anything with it at all. I mean, he even did he mocked Brian's shtick with the yes chant and all that.
Yep, so he started doing the it kicks and everything.
Zayn is great. I mean, like he's so over. Like the fans were chanting his theme after it was finished playing during the introductions.
Ooh.
The ole ole chants break out and all
We
that
could say
stuff. And
he is from Canada. It was in Canada, but he gets that everywhere.
he gets it everywhere. Yeah. He also was one of the best from fighting underneath. He does it perfectly. He's just a dude who gets his ass beat. He knows how to sell it. He also knows how to come back and have the fire that you need. You know.
You know about dudes that get their ass beat.
I thought as hokey as it was, the finish was fine for me. It's just another way that Miz got over by chicanery, not by actually like I wouldn't call it cheating because he didn't really do anything illegal. He just took advantage of a situation and put a move on Zayn, and no one can be mad about it. We were discussing it during the match. There's no way nobody did anything wrong.
Oh yeah,
So-
you can't even call dumb face or dumb heel on that one
Nope,
either.
can't do it. I mean,
Smart heel, I guess.
I mean,
Smart
in a
heel.
way, you could Zayn to a degree because everyone who taps or loses by submission, they always tap out. Miz did not tap out.
He heard a bell. He thought, oh, okay.
Okay, just a random bell.
You don't
Okay,
hear the.
yeah.
Yeah, he just heard the bell. That's
Or
all
the
he cared
referee will
about.
go over and move your, put your arm up 3 times or whatever. It did not take from the match. To me, it's my best match. It's probably my favorite match at the moment. I gave it a 7.5.
I gave it a 7.
But the story was also good to me.
I'm giving it a 7 because I didn't like the finish. But it's kind of a stupid face thing to think you won the match because you heard the bell when you clearly didn't hear the tap.
Or you see the arm,
or hear the Miz verbally just say, "I quit."
But the idea was not bad though.
Yeah. So yeah, 7.5 for me.
So what did you get next to this promo?
Yeah, we had Ambrose and Styles backstage. They're sitting in front of a TV, and they're Styles is saying, "Since I'm captain, if you follow my lead, we'll win." Ambrose, I forget specifically what he said. He says, "I'm going to beat you at TLC." Yeah. And then Shane comes in and gets them to regroup and be team players again. And
he's like, "Shut up!"
Again, foreshadowing. and then we go to the Survivor Series tag team match.
All right, so we have the
elimination match. Sorry,
Raw tag team is Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy. And Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson and Antonio Cesaro and Sheamus and the Shining Stars and New Day versus Heath Slater and Rhino and Tyler Breeze and Fandango and the Usos and the Hype Bros and American Alpha.
If you do the math, that's 20 people.
So then Enzo comes out, and what happens, Albert?
No.
I don't remember specifically what he says, but I know, because you guys.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, well, he did all that the same normal stuff he does. I'm a certified G and certified stud and bona fide G and all that stuff.
Certified G, bona fide stud. You don't even know your own guy's lines.
Words hard, sometimes difficult.
But there are references to Drake in this
and
promo.
The
I didn't get any
Starboy.
Because apparently Drake is from the area. So I didn't get much of that. Although it's still, I mean, Enzo to me, Enzo's my other favorite mark that nobody likes, and because he's just so good on the mic. If he was halfway as good in the ring as he was on the mic, he would still be in WWE kicking some ass.
It sounds bad to say, but my favorite Enzo moment was when he knocked himself concussed on the fucking bottom rope.
I like Cass kicking his ass.
That actually, I enjoyed that too because I thought that Cass was on his way up the card, but turns out he can't do much either without Enzo around with him. So I'm not saying they're good. I just enjoy them. So it's just like when people like the Conquistadors or Barry Horowitz are perennial losers, but you just enjoy them in the ring for some reason. I don't know.
I get it.
Why did Zack Ryder have to be the one to take the pin? Hype Bros. Why?
Oh.
Why? Was it
We're not right there yet,
I don't care.
Man.
Okay.
Well, then the New Day cuts a promo.
And all they did was just rally the troops and say that we're gonna win, and because Team Raw rocks, and then they go to the ring.
All right. So then, as soon as the match starts, Fandango starts handing out fashion police violations to everyone.
This is for you. This is for you.
And he's doing it. He's basically making it rain on. He's like, "This is for you." He's like throwing 3 of them at everybody.
So then the New Day do the Moonlight Drive, which is what it was called back then, but it's the up, up, down, down to Fandango.
Oh, it's funny because when they did it, the announcer literally goes up, up, but they don't say down, down when he hits it.
Yep. So then Jey Uso did a super kick to Kingston. Ryder did a flapjack to Epico. Raleigh slapped Epico in the ears and the corner.
He made everybody duck. It was
after doing a stupid fucking dance, it was really bad.
Raleigh did a really low tackle to Epico. Raleigh did a crossbody to Anderson.
I think it's supposed to be like a chop block from the front.
Yeah.
Ryder did
it was weird.
Ryder did a drop kick to Anderson. The OC did the original club did the Magic Killer to Ryder. Epico did a slingshot elbow to Gable. Gable did a back German suplex and vertical suplex. American Alpha did a top rope bulldog combo to Primo. Cass launched Enzo onto everybody. Cass then did a big boot to Rhino. Then Slater dove onto everybody from the top rope. Then Cesaro has Jordan for the Cesaro swing. Jordan launched Gable the fuck out onto everybody. Then, of course, the club did the Magic Killer to Jordan. Anderson did a spine buster to Slater. Rhino did a gore to Gallows. Mm-hmm. Enzo and Cass did their boom shakalaka combination to Rhino, which is Enzo's on the top rope. Cass picks him up, and they splash somebody. Jey Uso did a super kick to Enzo. Jimmy did a splash to Enzo. Sheamus did his 10 beats punches thing to Jimmy.
Bells of the Balrin or whatever it's called.
Sheamus did the fireman's carry splash to Jimmy. The Usos did a super kick to Cesaro. Sheamus did a bro kick to Jimmy. Jimmy got on the top rope. Samoan drop from Sheamus. Jay did a splash to Sheamus. Cesaro did an uppercut to Jay. Cesaro did a standing drop kick to Jay, which looked pretty cool. Or to Jimmy, actually. Cesaro did a 619 to Jay.
Yeah.
Cesaro did a Cesaro swing to Jay. Jimmy did a tope to Sheamus. Jay did a Boston Crab to Cesaro, which then Cesaro reversed into a sharpshooter. Sheamus did a bro kick to Jimmy. And Jay ends up tapping out. So Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy and Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, Antonio Cesaro, and Sheamus and the Shining Stars and New Day win.
Yeah. The last 10 minutes was really good. It just gave you an idea of what Usos in the bar were going to do, down the line. They had me. I was like, "Well, who's going to win this?" I just because, even though I think I knew that the was soon to be where the bar were going to win, but still, though, they had me. They had me at the end. Everything at the beginning, though, was just some of it was a train wreck. Some of it was just a clusterfuck. People getting pinned in 10 seconds. Breezango's out 10 seconds. After they gave out their fashion citations, they were eliminated by New Day. The
Mike
New Day,
Knox style.
Yeah. Then the New Day went out right away by the Usos. I forgot how they did it, though. How did they do it again?
So what happened was they just did a super kick to Kingston.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, okay. Weren't they, I think the New Day was, celebrating or something like that after they pinned Breezango. And then they got the super kick and Kingston got pinned or something like that.
Well, he didn't really celebrate because Tyler Breeze on the apron yelling, "Why?"
No, he was down next to
and
Breezango.
Xavier then started
he
fucking mocking that.
Yeah.
No, he mocked it after they got eliminated. Kofi got pinned and he did the same thing that Tyler did.
Yeah, they literally just eliminated them and then 2 seconds later, super kick and then you're eliminated.
All right, so that's Breezango first, New Day second, and then the Hype Bros go out, get eliminated by Gallows and Anderson. This is the weird part. I'm sorry. That's later. But Shining Stars gets eliminated by American Alpha. I think what's Jordan's first name? Jason Jordan. They almost botched the pin because Jason Jordan was a legal man, and you could see Gable saying, "Come on, you gotta get here and pin him." And then Jordan had to climb back in the ring and pin. I think it was Epico.
Yep.
And then there was a couple of the contrived spots, which they always look silly. If the crowd pops for them, I'm fine with it, but I'm not fine with the guys jumping off and there's 10 dudes with their arms out saying, "Come, just make sure you just land in the middle of us," because it doesn't add to the finish at all. So
Contrived spots.
Yeah, but it's contrived spots, and people seem to like them, so it's okay. But I don't. I was surprised American Alpha went out next via Gallows and Anderson. I was surprised by that. I figured they might be at the end, but
At least it was a magic killer took them out.
yeah. Then Gallows and Anderson are eliminated by the Rhino Gore afterwards, or after that.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah. Enzo and Cass eliminate Rhino and Slater, and then the Usos get rid of Enzo and Cass. And then the end which was really good, and then Cesaro and Sheamus won it for their team. Like I said, the last 10 minutes will make this match at least a 6 for me. The last 10 minutes.
See, I gave it a 7. There's a lot of action in it. There's a lot of decent action, a lot of good action, but it couldn't get much better than that.
Yeah, it just they had to get 20 guys in the ring and make it happen, and that's what they did.
Well, if the eliminations New Day wouldn't have been so fucking quick, it might have been a little better.
Yeah.
But it's just the teams that you have in there, the Shining Stars could have been eliminated way sooner.
Absolutely.
Definitely the Hype Bros. Definitely Slater and Rhino. If American Alpha would have been longer, that would have been good.
Rhino?
What's that?
He's got a problem with Slater and Rhino?
Compared to
out of all the teams in this match that got hate, Slater and Rhino wasn't really.
American Alpha should have been longer.
Yeah,
that's true.
I wouldn't mind seeing at the end have American Alpha with the Usos and Cesaro and Sheamus at the end. That'd have been great. Have a small little triple threat.
Well, it would have been fucking Anderson and Gallows, Cesaro, Sheamus, American Alpha, and Usos. That would have been great.
Yeah.
But nope, they didn't do that.
Nope.
So then we had another promo.
For all the things that you just said, I'm giving it a 6. I was going to say pretty much all those same things.
Nice.
Wow, get out of his head.
Well, since you skipped asking me what I rated.
Wait, what did you rate it?
6.
Okay.
But then you went on I was going to do the whole thing about the tag teams in this match that I hated. Just.
Okay. I meant to keep tally on which sides were winning what. Are we counting the pre-show with the Raw vs. SmackDown tally?
No, because Harper and Kane are on the same show, and the Cruiserweights are on the same show.
So to this point, Raw and the Miz was on SmackDown, right?
Yep.
Okay, so this is 1-1, and now it is 2-1. At this point, it's 2-1 Raw. Okay, so the reason I'm bringing this up is because Stephanie and Mick Foley are backstage congratulating themselves on how well they're doing so far, even though they've only won 2 and lost 1. It's not like they've won them all. So Stephanie puts over Foley putting together Cesaro and Sheamus, and then says that, or declares that Cesaro and Sheamus are going to get a tag team title shot at some point. It doesn't say whether it's going to be on Raw or the following pay-per-view.
Well, no, she said the next night.
Oh, the next night? Okay, then on Raw then. But pretty much they were just talking about how well they were doing. Pretty much a lot of hubris in this little section here.
So we had the Cruiserweight title match, Brian Kendrick versus Kalisto. Kalisto did a really good head scissors and tope to Kendrick.
Oh, I'm sorry to cut you off. There was a promo by Brian Kendrick beforehand. It was a little video package.
Oh, okay.
He was saying people can learn to be better. They can be smarter than the day before, and you basically get better as you evolve in your life. But he says most people aren't like that. Most people aren't like me. I try to get better each and every day. Everyone is just too lazy to better themselves, and they take cheap thrills for granted, just like Kalisto does. And I'm going to beat Kalisto tonight, and I'm going to continue to outsmart and outmaneuver the division going forward. And that's pretty much it. And then to go to the match.
All right, so then Kalisto did the head scissors and tope to Kendrick. Kalisto did a cross body to Kendrick. Kendrick did a back suplex to Kalisto. Kalisto did another head scissors to Kendrick. Kendrick did a roll up, which also ended up hitting Kalisto's head into the turnbuckle. Kendrick then kicked the steps into Kalisto's back. Kendrick did a suplex to Kalisto. Kalisto did a Spanish fly to Kendrick off of the apron,
Fantastic.
which is really good.
Yeah.
Kalisto then did a tope to Kendrick. Then there was a one point in time where Kalisto was on the top rope of Kendrick, and Kendrick literally just tosses him off using essentially a headlock takeover.
That was also great.
Yep.
And then he transitioned it into the captain's hook. So that was really cool.
Should have been the finish.
Then Kalisto did a rolling Death Valley driver to Kendrick. Kalisto did the Selena del Sol to Kendrick. Then Baron Corbin came in and gave Kalisto the end of days. So Brian Kendrick wins by DQ. Or he attacked Kendrick first, then he gave the end of days to Kalisto.
Kendrick to make sure that Kendrick wins, and then he attacks who he really came to attack.
Yeah.
So Brian Kendrick wins by DQ.
It was an 8 until Corbin showed up.
It was. Why? Why couldn't they just do that kind of shit? I'm sorry. Why couldn't they just do that on Raw if they wanted to, instead of ruining a good pay-per-view fight and have Kendrick go over clean or something, or But I mean, by then the match was going a little bit too long, but at least it was still good.
Yeah.
So
it was still good. They didn't slow down.
I'm not even going to worry about the Baron Corbin part with the finish, because as far as I'm concerned, the finish was the bully choke or headlock off the top rope bully choke. Captain's hook, combo that he did. Kalisto didn't help himself. It was he had his dumb face moment where he hit the Salida del Sol right by the ropes, and he hooked the wrong leg. So Kendrick was able to get out of the hold by hooking the ropes with his free leg. And you could see it happening from a mile away, which is annoying to me. So
we all called it.
Yeah, and come on, at least make it obvious or something. At least reach out with your hand, because your hands are free, your arms are free. I've seen it done before. Use your arm. But yeah, Baron Corbin, fuck off. I give the match a 7 because Baron Corbin. It would have been an 8 had.
I agree. I gave it a 7 because Corbin fucked it up.
Yeah,
that's how much I hate Corbin.
Yeah, well, we got a little bit more Corbin later, so he talks about why he did it.
And that's actually next, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a kickoff panel right before that. So Renee Young, Booker T, Lita, and Jerry Lawler are around the table. I guess this is the halftime portion of the show, right?
Something like that.
And they're discussing how Raw is doing. Was Kendrick on Raw?
Yep.
Okay, so Raw now...
he's representing the cruiserweights, right. And at that time they were running Raw for like one of the hours.
Yeah. So Raw's now up 3-1. Lita, for some reason, says Corbin was the cherry on top of the last match. Like, what?
The chocolate shit-covered cherry?
Yeah, I mean...
It was
Booker T is this. I forget what he said, but I don't know. I forget what he was talking about.
He probably said "Shucky Ducky Quack Quack."
Yeah,
and he probably said it's Fave 5.
Lawler mentioned he was wrong about Cesaro and Sheamus being a weak link for their team, which they end up winning the match. So that's continuing to get them over. Cesaro and Sheamus over, and they'll become the Bar at some point.
Lawler said he had orthopedic shoes, and then he stood up. He said, "I'm going to stand up for that."
Okay.
I don't understand why that would be so funny, but whatever.
Lawler has a lot of one-liners, but that one right over my head.
That was dumb.
Yeah. After this kickoff panel, we had Baron Corbin in the back, and he's confronted by Daniel Bryan and says, "Hey, look, we could have had the cruiserweights on SmackDown. What is your problem?" Corbin says, "We don't need." Corbin says a couple of things about he doesn't care about anyone wants, and I do what I want, and. Then he says, "We don't need quote unquote little pests on SmackDown," and that's why he made sure the cruiserweight stayed on Raw.
Yay, wrestling!
Yeah, good job, Baron Corbin.
Wrestling. Everything they've done with that guy, other than tell me he was a football player, has made me hate him.
Then there's a promo package for the brand split, which leads into the Survivor Series. The promo package for the brand split, and the Survivor Series main event, and then we go into the match.
So we got Shane McMahon and Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton and AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose versus Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns and Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens.
Yeah, Shane McMahon is the SmackDown captain and
Kevin Owens is the Raw captain.
Don't forget about Ellsworth.
Fuck Ellsworth.
And his mascot.
So before the match starts, Ellsworth comes out and is said to be the SmackDown's mascot.
Woo!
Oh, and by the way. We don't need to hear the goddamn rules about the Survivor Series and how it works every single time there's a match. It's not like someone just woke up in the middle of the pay-per-view and decided to start watching it or has never watched one of these before.
And nobody's just going to put the disc in and be like, I want to watch that Survivor Series match. I don't know what a Survivor Series match is, but I'm going to skip 2 hours into the show and watch this one match.
Unless some dude was in the bathroom all day or some chick was in line buying a T-shirt, I'm pretty sure they heard it in the previous one. And in the hype packages on the Raws leading up to it, blah, blah, blah.
Well, and if you watch wrestling enough, you know.
You've seen one Survivor Series match, you know the rules.
By the way, if you're a noob, if this is your first pay-per-view, I'm pretty sure it's been explained to you 100 times by then, so.
If this is the first pay-per-view you're watching, you're probably watching it with somebody who really loves this pay-per-view for some reason.
Yeah, maybe Lillian Garcia was just being paid by the word. I don't know.
That was actually JoJo.
Sorry about that.
Is this before or after Bray Wyatt got her pregnant?
Before.
Okay, then she wouldn't need the money word for word.
So Jericho throws his shirt at AJ Styles. AJ does a drop kick to Jericho. Ambrose arm drags Jericho. Shane does a jumping elbow to Jericho. Jericho does a top rope bulldog or drop kick to Shane. Rollins suplex to Shane. Roman does corner clotheslines to Shane. Shane does a backdrop to Rollins. Ambrose clotheslines and tope to Owens. Owens super kick to Ambrose. Styles does a phenomenal forearm to Strowman. Owens does a swanton onto everyone that's outside the ring. Strowman, he was supposed to do a chokeslam, but he looks like he just throws Shane off the top rope.
It was stupid. Shane lands on his feet and like stumbles backwards. It's weird.
Shane does the cactus clothesline to Strowman. Keyword cactus clothesline. Remember that back for Foley? He would do the clothesline and they'd both go over the top rope.
Okay, I didn't know it's called that.
That's what Joey Styles used to call it. Ambrose does a clothesline to Rollins. Strowman does a running power slam to Ambrose. Strowman then is launched Styles over the top rope, which looked pretty painful. Strowman does a clothesline to Bray. Orton does an RKO to Strowman on the announce table that does not break. Then Strowman is laid on the table, and Shane McMahon does an elbow to Strowman through the announce table. Strowman is then counted out because of stupid James Ellsworth. So then Strowman throws.
Foreshadowed. Completed.
Yeah. That's hold on a second, because like you said it earlier, and then the foreshadowing with the Ambrose and Styles plays into this match as well. So
then Strowman starts beating the shit out of Ellsworth and throws him off the stage through a table, which looked pretty funny.
The best thing I've ever seen Ellsworth do.
Owens has a senton to Shane.
Actually, I'm gonna just because it's a perfect time. Cause I'm not gonna bring it up when we're talking about the match. I think that's fitting in foreshadowing too, because he was talking to Mick Foley the entire time about is there any moment about me that you like that didn't involve me getting hurt?
Oh, okay.
And then the only moment he has, he gets fucking thrown off something through a table. Yeah. I just thought of it when I was talking.
All those backstage stuff, it leads to something.
I was literally just thinking about it as I was talking about it, so I wanted to say it right there.
Jericho does the lion salt to Shane.
As well.
Jericho does a code breaker to Shane and to Orton. Rollins does a slam to Shane. AJ does the calf crusher to Jericho. Owens hits Styles with a pop-up, or actually with the list, and then does a pop-up powerbomb to him. And then Jericho is pissed off about his list.
And that also got Kevin Owens disqualified.
Orton does an RKO to Jericho. Orton does a scoop slam to Rollins. Orton does a superplex to Rollins. Reigns does a Samoan drop to AJ and Wyatt and Orton. Reigns does like a Razor's Edge powerbomb to AJ. Shane does a DDT to Reigns. Reigns spears the shit out of Shane McMahon as he's coming off the top rope doing his coast-to-coast move.
Dude.
Rollins does a neck breaker to AJ off the top rope. Let's see. Actually, Rollins tope to Bray. Rollins does an enziguri to AJ, who's sitting on the top rope playing with his hair.
He's passed out.
He's knocked out.
Rollins does a superplex and a Falcon Arrow to AJ. The Shield reunite for a second and do a triple powerbomb to AJ through the table.
Love it.
Luke Harper comes out and he super kicks Reigns.
Dungeon Doom.
Rollins does the sling blade to Bray. Rollins does a tope to Harper. Orton does an RKO to Rollins. Rollins does a top rope splash to top rope slash. Reigns does a Superman punch to Orton.
Big dog.
Reigns does a drive-by to Bray.
Big dog.
Reigns does a spear to Harper.
Big dog.
Reigns does the Superman punch to Bray.
Big dog.
Reigns does the spear to Orton.
Big dog.
Bray does the Sister Abigail to Reigns. And then Team SmackDown, which is Shane McMahon and and Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton and AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose take the victory.
So there's two things there towards the end I was going to comment on. The whole Orton took the spear. He sacrificed himself for the spear.
He did.
Pushing Bray out of the way.
I was going to bring that up. Okay, so talk about the eliminations. Ambrose was... actually, before I get to that, both the Survivor Series, or the one with the women and then the one with the men, both of them had their stare down at the OK Corral moment. Like, I'm glad I'm glad that the similarities between the two matches stopped. The booking of the two matches stopped right there, because at least because the men's was vastly different afterwards. I just wanted to bring it up because until then I think both matches were kind of booked at the beginning. They were booked the same. Oh, by the way, I hate Shane's punches. You can just fuck right off with that. We say like
3 different times. Like, oh, Roman's taking him, Shane's taking him. Why are these people?
Strowman taking him was the worst.
Yeah, and he does it. He does the little rapid fire punch, speed bag punches too.
But they look terrible.
And they look horrible. Like, stop it.
The other thing I was going to talk about before we go back down, like the eliminations list, was it just made me laugh. And I think I told you, but like when Rollins is doing all this stuff and then he does the tope to Harper, there's this couple standing in the front row. This guy in an orange shirt and his girlfriend, and he just looks at his girlfriend. You can read his lips, and he's pointing his head. He's like, he's smart. I was just like, dude.
He's a smart guy.
Smart guy.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, he's a smart dude.
Okay, so the first elimination was Ambrose. He got power slam. He took the running power slam from Strowman. Styles set up Ambrose. I forget what he did to make Ambrose vulnerable to the power slam.
They started fighting, and then he pretty much pushed him over towards Strowman.
Yeah, okay, and then Strowman just power slammed him, and both Shane and AJ just stood by watching. I'm surprised Shane just stood by. He must have been in that little 15-minute selling road dog climb along the rope selling job he was doing. The next elimination was Strowman by countout. Ellsworth was under the ring. But before then, they were he was taken out by the Wyatt family and Shane. Shane's on the top rope. Okay, this is a guy who'd already freaking jumped off a 20-foot Hell in a Cell, and now he's on the top rope, and he does this little right, left, north, south, east, west, pray to God shit. Like, oh God, this is gonna hurt. It won't hurt you. You've already took a bump off the Hell in a Cell. I mean, come on.
You're actually
dude.
gonna hit your target this time.
And you're actually gonna hit it this time. So like, there's no need to start doing that. Like the crowd thinks you're gonna miss. So calm down.
Well, I'm pretty sure he's done that his entire career, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he did it with the coast to coast he's about to do later. Anyway, so Ellsworth is under the ring, and as Strowman is ready to climb into the ring, Ellsworth grabs his foot, and that's the foreshadowing we got from earlier. And that causes Strowman to be counted out. Once was eliminated by DQ, he attacked Styles with the list, which in turn made Jericho upset because he was collecting all the pages, and he ends up getting RKO'd by Orton. Shane performed a coast to coast that got reversed into a spear by Reigns.
So with this, because I was gonna jump before I was waiting until you get here.
Oh, go ahead.
When you were talking about doing the cross thing that you said, you think he did it for this too?
I think he did.
If he did or didn't, I was gonna say if I knew what was about to happen, I definitely I would have done that too.
Yeah, because when he got he was still in midair. It's not like he like jumped and then landed. Although I mean I think he did, but I think they timed it perfectly enough.
He got caught.
And he got caught, and his back of his head had to hit the mat. It had to. And then so the referee eventually decided that Shane couldn't continue.
Oh, he definitely got a concussion because he wasn't supposed to have his shoulder up, but he couldn't take it because he was not there.
Yeah.
Well, and then that's when Randy Orton walked over to his son and said, "Dad'll be okay. Don't worry."
Yeah, you don't see it on camera very well.
You do, but barely.
You see Randy walking over there, and then they kind of cut a little bit.
But there's I think it's either on What Culture or WrestleMania where they do where wrestlers broke character kayfabe in matches, and I think that was one of them that was in the top 10.
It was.
Next elimination was Styles by Rollins. Styles was a victim of the Shield powerbomb under the ring announce table. They threw him back in the ring, and Rollins just went in and pinned him. Rollins next was eliminated by Orton. A great RKO in midair on Rollins. It looked fantastic. I think it was better than one from Mania. I don't know. What do you guys think?
The Mania one's better.
The Mania one's better because it has more height.
Yeah.
Because he gets a lot of because he jumped from whatever, like 2 feet off the ground is where Orton's back was. Jumped off of his back as high as he could. And he
took that fucking
And Orton
thing.
pushed himself up at the same time, giving him a little bit more force to throw him in the air.
Yeah.
And then catching him. This was just cool because he caught him at the perfect time at the end of the frog splash.
Yeah. Orton has that move on lock. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, no one else should do an RKO except for Orton. Last elimination was Reigns by Wyatt. There's an interesting spot here because like Orton is trying to ingratiate himself to Wyatt inside the Wyatt family. Luke Harper's not buying it. I don't remember. Is Eric Rowan part of this, or is he hurt or something?
Eric Rowan was hurt at this time. So Orton was trying to be a part of the Wyatt family.
Yeah. So Reigns was going for a spear, and Orton pushed him out of the way and took the spear. Wyatt hit Sister Abigail and Reigns, and they win. And they celebrate afterwards as a group, and which is really cool because like there was a lot of times where you would think Orton was going to betray Wyatt at one point, but I think they lengthened that story out pretty good.
Well, really, it doesn't come. Month before Mania, so like after
until the SmackDown that we went to when he burnt down the house.
Yeah,
which was like that was a couple weeks after the Rumble.
That was a couple weeks. That was like a week or two after Chamber.
Well, I'm saying it was after he had already won the Rumble.
Yep.
I'm just saying that because he had said right after he won the Rumble that Friday after or whatever he was talking, or after Bray won the title, and he's like, "Don't worry,
I'm not going to challenge you.
I'm not doing it." And then that promo package pops up. And he's like, "Fuck you! I burned your house down."
Yeah, that was after the Elimination Chamber show because at the Elimination Chamber show, Orton fights against Harper because Bray literally kicked Harper out for not trusting Orton.
Where does this version of Orton rank on your list of Orton characters?
This one's a weird one.
It's one of my least favorite because especially at this point in time, I get the psychological mind games and all that shit, whatever, like making him believe in this shit that he's actually believing in Bray. So he's making Bray believe that he believes in Bray.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is my lowest ranking Orton.
Orton at this stage in his career and the star power that he is, being a second, didn't really work for me, and the way the story played out really didn't work for me.
But I mean, everyone who knows enough knows that it was a long con job.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just weird that like it will last that long.
The story was good, but the match quality didn't add
Well,
up.
that's what
Yeah,
you're
especially
saying.
at Mania.
It's a con job, and
Yeah.
their follow-up at House of Horrors.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, but like, did Orton like? Do you think someone like Orton really is like thinking? I'm gonna think of the long con job here because I know White is gonna win. Or I'm sorry, Orton knows he's gonna win the Rumble, and he knows Wyatt's gonna win the title, and he knows he's gonna challenge him at WrestleMania.
I'm not sure they got that far, but when they're
No.
trying to figure out a way to pay off the story, like everybody knew what was gonna happen. What was
Right.
gonna happen. The way they play off the story and make some mistakes, like or maybe Orton was gonna do it the entire time, or he was actually gonna be under Bray. And the way they wrote the story is Orton won the Rumble, then coincidentally Bray wins the title, and his mindset changed a little bit. You got something I want.
Yeah.
Yep, pretty much.
And then Orton becomes an arsonist and didn't serve jail time.
He almost set himself on fire filming that. Apparently.
I know, yeah, because yeah, he was. It was the same time when Orton was setting the Undertaker on fire, and he had all that gasoline all over himself, and people were off camera going like, "Dude, be careful," or back up further, or whatever. And then when it flared up, Orton was like, "Oh crap!" I mean,
No mercy.
luckily, nothing happened to Orton, but still, it was kind of the same deal.
That review will eventually be up.
Yeah,
It'll be up right after Full Gear because I kind of have to. It has a date. It has to be
I
up
like
on.
this one more than the tag match, and just a bit over the women's match. What did I give that? Like 6,
Give
7.
it a 6.
Yeah, I guess match a 7.
I give this one an 8.5 because story.
Yeah, actually, you're right. I'm gonna add on 7.5 because there were stories for sure.
There's a lot of storyline. I mean, because you got storyline between Ambrose and Styles.
Yep,
You had technical story with Orton and the Wyatts.
yep.
You had
Jericho and his list.
you had
Jericho and Owens in general.
Jericho and Owens story.
Ellsworth, Strowman.
Ellsworth Strowman.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
The
You
Shield
had-
reunion.
You had
Yep.
you had a ton of just storyline in this thing. So I mean, I give it a lot just for that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it 7.5 because I don't particularly like the traditional Survivor Series elimination matches as a concept in general. Especially
I like them.
not branded ones. I like back when it's like, oh, these made like the Brock Lesnar and whatever, those ones, where they go find their own teammates.
Yeah.
I like those two.
That
Like,
was that was one of the biggest things about the early ones from 87, 88, 89. They you don't see them recruiting people because they don't like if they had Raw back then you would see them recruit people. But every one of them had a gripe with some other guy on the other team.
Oh yeah, no, they did that a lot of them.
So-
This just started with this particular year.
Yeah.
These were,
Aside from 2005, that was brand warfare as well.
but doing it like that was not like the first time, and that really just played into the Undertaker coming back and saying "fuck you, Orton." We're
Pretty
going."
much.
Because there was there are members of the other two Survivor Series matches who probably like, why you here? Like Alicia Fox, why you here? Or the Hype Bros for that matter.
Epico and Primo.
Or yeah. So like
Yeah.
Fandango, Breezango.
so I actually more we discussed. I think
Comic
about
relief.
I'm gonna bump up my rating to an 8 for this match because you're right though. All the stories made sense and it played out right. And hell, and the Shield didn't win.
Yeah.
You know,
The Mega Powers didn't win.
the Mega Powers didn't win.
True.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna bump it up to an 8.
All right, so then we had a promo package for Brock Lesnar and Goldberg.
Who?
Brock Lesnar and Goldberg.
Yeah. Epic entrance. Love
So
it.
we have Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. So first things first is Brock Lesnar pushes Goldberg into the corner,
Stares at him.
stares at him. Then Goldberg shoves Lesnar on his ass. Then Goldberg does 2 spears to Brock. Then there's a jackhammer to Brock, and Goldberg wins 1, 2, 3.
In
Awesome.
1 minute, 25 seconds. Total
Fantastic.
squash.
Fantastic.
I
Everything Goldberg has done since this sucks. This was fantastic.
Yeah, it was I was totally when I first watched this in 2016 when I had the network I was totally shocked this happened. I thought we'd get like a 10-minute match and get a fight.
Yeah, we were
Maybe Goldberg wasn't in ring shape, not sure, but the idea how it went down was totally unexpected and I'm not sure how to rate this.
I think what they were going for
Yeah,
in reaction, because you can look at some of the people in the crowd, they wanted shocked Undertaker guy from when Undertaker's streak got broken.
Exactly.
Like, it was so unbelievable that they would do this kind of like it was unbelievable that Taker's streak got broken. It's unbelievable that Brock, who's been built up for 5 years and just decimating everybody, just gets
Destroyed.
in a minute by an old legend.
Yeah.
Plus that one jackhammer looked good.
It's
Yeah.
probably the best jackhammer he's done since he came back.
I agree.
What was I gonna say? Unfortunately, the follow up for this, to me, just kind of. Okay, hold on a second. That's not fair. I can't do what was afterwards and rate this match. This match was.
It's the nostalgia trip.
I'm not sure how to rate this match because like it wasn't a match. It was pretty much like a segment that somebody just happened to get pinned.
Right.
It's more than a 5. I'm gonna give it a 6.
You?
For this particular nostalgia trip, that's what I'm going to call it. It's not a match, it's not a segment, it's a nostalgia trip. Everything they did from the moment Goldberg's music hit to the end of Goldberg's match was straight out of WCW.
Yeah.
He came in, he wrecked shit,
And he left.
They're basically Roman Reigns right now.
Yeah.
He has it on his shirt.
And what would you rate that?
I'm going to give it an 8 for the trip.
I gave it an 8 as well because we weren't like you thinking back then we got ripped off. We were just like,
Holy shit.
they fucking did it?
In no way in hell did I ever believe that Brock Lesnar would willingly take a squash match.
Plus on top
Especially
of that,
against Goldberg.
Plus on top of that too, it's like we're not rating it based on what happened afterwards because it's not fair.
Yeah.
And also the weird thing with him bringing his shirtless son into the ring in his celebration was weird too.
Yeah, that was weird, but I'm not docking any points
So
out for
I was
that.
more going from the promo package to a minute after he wins. Because that first celebration before he gets out of the ring and like gets rid of his family, that's WCW.
I think
It
it
is.
I think if it went like 6-7 minutes, it would have been better. You know, if Goldberg took a few bumps, I think that's what I wanted to
That's
see.
what the Mania match was.
Right.
Which is only 4.5 minutes long. I timed that one, but they did so much shit in 4.5 minutes, they basically killed each other.
They just did the best of what they had. I mean, which is the best way to book a wrestling match anyway. Build to your strengths and avoid your weaknesses, you know, to the best of your ability.
The one from Mania was the best one they had.
Yeah.
The rematch to this.
Yes, it was.
It's the only other Goldberg match I like. This one and that one for the comeback since this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure, because his comeback matches have been crap, because it was Dolph Ziggler was crap,
Squash.
Owens was worse,
Squash.
Fiend
Squash.
was
Atrocious.
better in the fact of match quality-wise, but it
Except for
sucked
he
to
gave-
bury an up-and-coming character.
Yeah.
Also, after Bray Wyatt's been through it with literally everybody else.
Strowman sucked.
Oh yeah, that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. So like when so we were talking about this during the match, or I'm sorry, after the match earlier.
Can't
And-
really talk about it during the match. It was only a minute long.
True. Is that opportunity was wasted here? Obviously, with I mean, we brought up Lesnar beating Taker. It could have been anybody else. So Lesnar is going through everybody. So I'm glad he showed some vulnerability here.
Should have been anybody
But
else.
Goldberg doesn't need to get over, right? So we were talking about this. Who beat Lesnar to get over who wasn't already over? Anybody?
Only McIntyre.
Only McIntyre.
And that was still iffy because he probably was over.
Yeah.
He just wasn't like Rollins over.
Yeah. But like Rollins already had his moment in Mania that made him when he cashed in.
It's still one of my maybe my favorite moment.
Yeah, to me it's right up there with Benoit and and Guerrero. But like it's just that guys like Goldberg don't need to go over Lesnar. And I think that does. And I think knowing what happened, even during the match, I was like, I don't really care. But because like to me, Goldberg's nothing. He's a nobody. He didn't really do that much, but he did as much as he could in like a 5-year span if you count his time in WCW and his time in WF the first time. It was only a few years, which is kind of amazing in and of itself, like 6 years, give or take. But he didn't. But
The Rock was the same thing. He really wasn't around as long as people think he was.
But Rock is 10 times better than Goldberg.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
And he put over Goldberg, so good, good for The Rock.
He did put over Goldberg.
He was
But like,
terrified of Goldberg.
but to me, this it could have been someone besides Goldberg doing this. But I mean, because but is there anybody else who could feasibly squash Lesnar or beat him convincingly in 5 minutes? I doubt it.
Joe.
There's two things I'm gonna
Small
counter.
Joe or Strowman would have been the only two choices.
And they both got their asses whipped.
Well, they had 8-minute matches. I have two follow-up points to this. So I think it's less about Goldberg and more about Brock. When it comes to Goldberg's coming back, and they need this big marquee thing to do. Who do you have to make Goldberg's return after 12 years feel massive? Brock fucking Lesnar.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like if you would have put him against, let's say,
Hey, Goldberg's back. Here's James Ellsworth.
or you could even say, oh, Goldberg's back. Here's trying to think of someone who's a mid Carter at this time. Dolph Ziggler. There you go.
Okay.
And we did that SummerSlam. It was horrible.
If they would have did that, people wouldn't have been like, oh yeah, we're hyped about Goldberg and Ziggler. They'd have been like,
See, the two things. This had the big fight feel, and it had the surprising result.
Yeah.
Those two things.
It's like a UFC fight, man. Those can last a minute for the main event.
Those two things.
That's a good point.
Those two things. I'm like, I can't think of anybody that Goldberg could have came back against for his first match that would have had the impact that this had.
Yeah, I wouldn't have any hype behind it.
They definitely didn't need to give him the fucking Universal title and have a title match at Mania.
And that obviously was a travesty. Owens I'm sorry, Lesnar and Goldberg do not need a title belt to have a rivalry.
It was The Rock all over again. Ending
Right.
CM Punk's title reign just so Cena and Rock could have a title match to up their stakes.
It's weird. Rock beat Punk to end his title reign, which is like about a year and like a few
It's like
months.
434 days or something.
Yeah. And he won it right before or the Rumble, right before WrestleMania. He also did that to Angle, going into WrestleMania 17 as well. Why does WWE want to do that? They want to establish a title run for somebody, but then they lose right for Mania if they don't want it to be the main event. Why not just book the one guy like The Rock, have the title the whole time?
Because they're not going to book The Rock like they book Brock. The Rock's not going to just... If The Rock's going to do it, he's going to do it. Like, when The Rock was there for that run, he was
at least
there.
had matches that were good and competitive.
And he was there. Like, that whole time from when he showed up at the Rumble, like, up until that moment, and then until Mania, he was there doing something.
Plus, he had 2 competitive matches with CM Punk and one against Cena.
But that's actually worse. Because having the second match is worse. Because not only did he bury his title reign by winning,
yeah,
he beat him again.
He had the contractual rematch.
Rematch
clause.
But again, it's a situation where why does the belt need to be put on The Rock versus Cena or Brock versus Goldberg?
I think he needed a reason to validate having the
Twice in a
second
lifetime.
match at breaking their rule. Which is stupid because when you look at...
Once in a lifetime, Cena versus Rock. How do we make it not...
They didn't do that with Taker and Shawn.
No, they found a way to do it.
With the career.
They found a good way to do it. They could have done it for Rock. Who says Rock's going to actually wrestle again?
This one, the twice in a lifetime, they're like, fuck, how do we make it not twice in a lifetime? Put the belt on the line, too. Yeah. Fuck it.
And the stupid thing was, going into that Royal Rumble, though, was like, okay, knowing what happened. Because did they give The Rock the title first? Or did they have the main... I think they had the Rumble first.
Yes.
You knew The Rock was going over.
Once Cena won.
The moment Cena won the Rumble, you knew The Rock was going to go over. But if it would have had the WWE title match first, and The Rock won, you knew Cena was going over in the Rumble.
Well, the last 3 guys in that Rumble, if I remember correctly, are terrible because it's like Sheamus, Cena, and Ryback.
Yeah, so it's going to be Cena going over either way. But
true.
You got The Rock.
Because at that point, Sheamus would have been a 2-time-in-a-row winner.
Ryback never should have even gotten close to winning.
Ryback was terrible, and then he had Cena.
Well, the Rock thing is weird because, okay, Cena wants a rematch because he lost at 28 in the once-in-a-lifetime. But the only way that they can make it happen, because they said it's once-in-a-lifetime, The Rock's like, I don't care. I'm done with you. I beat you. It's over.
Add the title.
That's what I'd say.
So, technically, in that term, the only way Cena was going to get back in was win the Rumble. Because when he said he was going to go for the Rumble, he's like, well, I guess The Rock won't give me a rematch or whatever, so I guess I'll go try to get a title, like something like that. And then The Rock won the title. So he's like, oh, perfect.
But everyone knew it was going to be Rock and Cena.
Should have just did Rock
So it
and
doesn't make
Orton.
any difference one way or the other.
I would have loved Rock and Orton.
It's not like Cena was like, oh, okay, I'm going to go for a title. Because he knew he was going to fight Rock anyway.
I was just going more on, he had given up the idea that he would get his rematch.
But it was already booked.
It was booked. I'm saying the on-screen persona of it was that he wasn't going to get his rematch.
Oh, I thought they said on screen,
So on screen, they did not say, hey, WrestleMania 29 is going to be Rock and Cena. They were like,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the first
28,
one.
28.
I'm sorry.
Because he came out the night after 27 and literally signed the match the
Right.
night after 27.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
but The Rock did, on the 1000th episode of Raw, go, at the Royal Rumble, I'm going to be going for the championship. And there was a triple threat match at the pay-per-view, and it was going to be Big Show, Cena, and Punk. And pretty much one night, that was the night Punk turned heel.
Right.
Because Rock went out there and kicked Big Show's ass, kicked Cena's ass, and then he was going to kick Punk's ass too, and Punk fucked him up.
Yeah.
But that's also the night that he announced that he'd be challenging for the title at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, they had a little promo. It's like and I think that's when Punk says, "You're."
And then Punk was pissed because Punk was like, "What makes you think that you can just come back here out of being gone for how many years and get a fuck title match at the Rumble?"
Yeah.
Because you're The Rock.
Because I'm the Rock,
It's
motherfucker.
like, why did Brock Lesnar go against Goldberg? Because it's Goldberg and Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. So like, I was never sold on Lesnar and Goldberg to begin with because I didn't care.
I mean, if you looked at WrestleMania 20, what would make you care?
No, I can't believe they even included that.
I didn't care about that match either.
I can't believe they included that in the promo package because
They had no other way to explain it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, everybody.
Oh, bring up your little theory you mentioned, like, because like no matter what happens, but Paul Heyman saying that Lesnar
'cause
was
building-
one up on Goldberg.
building this match, they're talking about how Brock wants his match,
His
his
win
rematch,
back.
basically, so he can get a win back and tie it up. So okay, and he loses again. So he wins the title. And it's like, oh, I took your title. Like, I'm the best. It's like, you're right back where you were 12 years ago when you lost the first match.
Yeah.
You just happened to take
That's
this.
a great point. So Heyman was talking out of his ass.
Unless Lesnar was going to win at Survivor Series, which he didn't. So
No. So anyway, the overall show was like I don't remember how I felt when I watched it like 4 years ago. I might feel as indifferent about it as I do now because the product wasn't. It was strange to say the least. A lot of 50-50 booking. No one's getting overly over it, and the guy who's supposed to be over is getting booed out of the building. So like I would say go watch this show, especially if you're just interested in how people have fared between then and now. Like I've cared about the women's characters. But if anything, watch the Men's Survivor Series match and then watch the main event. And I think that's all you really need to watch in this show.
Yeah, there's not a terribly lot that I'd go back and go, oh yeah, watch it. Unless you want to watch the Cruiserweight title match and just, once Corbin comes out, just skip that.
Yeah,
no, what you do is you turn it off after the rope break. You turn it off there because he basically happens right then, like very shortly right after that. So like if you stop it before Corbin hits the ring, it's great.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say is this is my thing. I actually pretty much agree exactly what you said. And you said you don't know how you felt about it there, like when you watched it in 2016. I didn't remember any of this card except for Brock Lesnar and Goldberg. When he said we were watching, I was like, oh, okay. Like, nice to remember what's on the show.
It's true. But all right, so we will be back next week with AEW Full Gear 2020.
Yep.
And then the Eddie
No
special.
spoilers, please. I'm kidding.
Now a bunch of people will be fucking tweeting us spoilers. People that don't
No,
watch.
they won't even watch the podcast. They're like, somebody's going to say something that they don't want people to ruin Full Gear. I'm going to find it. It's like, oh, there it is at the very end of this podcast. They won't watch the rest. They'll just know. I'm like, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened.
And Kingston's the new champion.
Enjoy your
Kofi?
podcast.
What?
Yep, Kofi Kingston shows up, wins the title,
Twerking.
walks out with his Raw Tag Team title belt in AEW, says Vince McMahon sent me to tell you something. And he wins the world title.
I'm gonna win the AEW world title, baby.
And then I'm going to burn it in the trash can on Raw.
Ooh. Mr. 24/7, as in 24/7, as I got your ass.
All right. But yeah, that's the plan.
We are out.
See ya.
Peace.